ACC games. We'll start off with the ACC, and then we do top 5 of the week. If you have any problems with the top 5 games of the week, take it up with Houston. You can email him at houston.hedoesn'tcare.com, and he will tell you why he picked these 5 games over the 5 games you might have wanted to get the picks from. But again, he does his best. Alan does his best. I do my best to try to rotate so that we don't just always focus on the ACC. But the ACC is our key conference that we start with. So we'll go number 23, NC State. Number 14, UNC. UNC burned me with Florida State, burned all of us with Florida State. UNC right now, minus 16.5. The fact that they lost to Florida State is just really killing me. The Wolfpack is 4-1 against the spread right now. I'm going to continue to roll with them. Give me this interstate rivalry game, 2 ranked teams against each other. NC State's got a good running game and a pretty decent defense. Decent, I'll say decent. But give me NC State to keep it close and keep it within the 16.5. So I got to roll with my Wolfpack winners, plus 16 for the Wolfpack for me.
Man, I was talking to Hart Vaughn, one of our watchers there on the chat not too long ago, and UNC was 14.5 this morning when I looked up the spread. So you said they're 16.5 now. That certainly changes some things, but man, I'm kind of with him. I think UNC did not live up to what we expected to last week. We expected them to bludgeon Florida State, and they did not. NC State has done well covering this year. They've done a good job. Their quarterback, Morgan, is out. I don't know if you are aware of that. Their quarterback is going to miss 4 to 8 weeks.
Oh, boy.
It's not to say they have a solid
Well, guess
backup,
what? I get a null no
Hockman.
matter what. I get a null because I didn't know that. I already picked. You guys don't get a null. I get a null.
So, believe it or not, even though they burned me, I am going to go with UNC here, even though it goes against my better judgment. I'm going to take the Tar Heels, and hopefully they have an offensive explosion and cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm going to also go with UNC. Comeback game. They have no injuries that we know of that are major. NC State losing Devin Leary is huge considering what he's been able to produce. I'm taking the Tar Heels.
Who is even their backup? I'm going to look real quick and see.
Bailey Hockman. Kid from Hammond.
It would help if you listened to the show, Morgan.
Bailey Hockman. He's a junior, though. He's a junior transfer.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with him. I'm gonna write it out. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make my choice and write it out. Even though I might regret it. But all right, next one up: Florida State at Louisville.
The lone wolf.
Florida State at Louisville -5. Preseason, I would have gone ahead and picked Louisville, no problem. Now Florida State beating the Tar Heels, finding a quarterback. Even if they lose, I feel like Florida State's improving. Louisville is not improving. But Florida State's defense is bad, guys. They're bad. But Louisville's offense is good when they can get it going, and they're not facing against Notre Dame. And again, I look at it as the tale of 2 halves. So the tale of 2 halves, Florida State had no points after halftime. So give me Louisville to cover by 5. Florida State was a fluke win.
So, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree that Florida State was a fluke win. I do think Florida State is getting better. I think they're showing some signs. And like you said, Louisville is not showing any signs, and they've burned me all year. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they burn me again, but I'm going to take FSU in the points here.
The key factor for me is this is a revenge game for Jordan Travis, Florida State, Louisville transfer. I'm taking Florida State in the points.
Something is going wrong here because I am not following with you guys. This is 3 lone wolves for me. However, I do have a better record.
Could be good.
So that could be good or bad for you. I'm just saying, could be good or bad. Again, I said I would brag this week, but I know that any given Saturday can completely destroy my record. Next up, number 3, Notre Dame, -10.5 at Pittsburgh. Give me the home dog, 10.5. I think that Pittsburgh's good defensive line with Notre Dame's primarily running attack will bode well for Pittsburgh. I don't know if Kenny Pickett is back or not. I don't know. They're still kind of day-to-day. We don't know. So considering we don't know, this could be a null if you guys will allow it for all of us. But I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus the points.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Pickett on this one as well. Pitt's another team that has burned Houston and I believe, this year
Yep.
on several occasions. But Notre Dame, I mean, can only beat Louisville by 5 at home and score 12 points total. Yeah, I'm taking Pitt
I
plus 10 and a
think
half.
Notre Dame is biding their time for another bigger game that's coming up later this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of me, I know Pitt's going to do this to me again. So I'm gonna go opposite of what I want to do. I'm gonna go Notre Dame to cover. Look, Kenny Pickett, even if he's healthy or is able to play, I don't think he's going to be 100%. I think Notre Dame is the best defense that Pitt will play this year. I don't think this is the best offense that Notre Dame has faced. I think Pitt is going in the wrong direction. I think Notre Dame is just staying where they are. And staying where they are, I think, is 10 points better than Pitt. Give me Notre Dame in points.
Okay. I like how you pulled that pick prediction out of there. If you were really originally going to say Pitt, I really commend your ability to change your pick on the fly and have a good argument with it. Next up, number 19, Virginia Tech minus 9.5 at Wake Forest. I do think that Wake Forest can hang. I think that they can score. However, I do believe that Virginia Tech is better than, say, a Virginia or maybe some other teams that Wake Forest has played against. So with the fact that Hendon Hooker seems to be kind of on the right page now, and the fact that Virginia Tech allowed only 2 touchdowns but 435 yards last weekend. But talk about bend and don't break. Give me Virginia Tech to cover 9.5.
It's funny. I keep talking about these teams that have burned me before, but I mean, look at my record. Every team has burned me this year. So what are we talking about here? Wake Forest is another team that's done that to me. I took them the first week and they burned me, and then I haven't taken them any other week and they've still burned me. So yeah, I'm taking Virginia Tech to cover minus the 9.5.
Khalil Herbert is going to run wild. Hendon Hooker is going to be all over the yard with Virginia Tech. I think they cover easily 9.5. It's too low to me. I think they're still in money at this point.
Okay, we all hammered home Virginia Tech there. So that's the first hammer home winner of the night or pick prediction of the night. How much confidence do you have in that game? Would you give it, I don't know. I'm still going to say I'm going to say a C level confidence on that because Wake Forest can score.
I would agree.
I'll go B.
Next up, Georgia Tech at Boston College. Now Georgia Tech's going to have to travel. The Boston College is a 3-point favorite, so give me BC minus 3. I feel like this is the kind of game that BC will win and can hold Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, again, is a team coming off a monster loss against Clemson, and teams coming off losses to Clemson don't do so well, even though Miami actually, proved that theory wrong last week. But still, give me Boston College at home to cover the spread.
I agree with everything you said. I'm taking BC as well.
Yeah, I'll take BC. I think BC will cover. Now, I will say the reason that's 3.5, I think Georgia Tech is going to play a lot better than what they played last week. Georgia Tech is getting better as a team. Boston College tends to play up or down to their competition, but I think BC is ultimately going to cover this game.
Last ACC game of the week, Virginia at number 11, Miami minus 11. Miami is an 11-point favorite. This has got to be the steal of the week. If you're listening to me, if you guys pick Virginia, I'd be shocked because this has got to be the steal of the week. Miami at home, Virginia, who can't beat North Carolina State, only 11 points, less than 2 touchdowns. 99% of the nation right now is picking Miami to win. I'll play that game. Give me Miami.
Yeah, the fact that everybody's so confident makes me want to pick Virginia in this game. But we like to put too much stock into Virginia and the way they played Clemson. Maybe it was more the way Clemson played. When you kind of take a look back, Miami was an impressive win after they got destroyed by Clemson. Impressive win coming back the next week. I'm going to take Miami minus 11 as well.
I'm going to take Miami. I'm going with Miami. Not taking Virginia. I don't know if Brennan Armstrong is still going to be in the game. I'm not taking them until he comes back. I think Miami wins this game big.
Yeah, I think that's a steal of the week right there. 11 points just seems really low for a Miami team that's got a really solid offense and a Virginia team that just seems to, be really a rushing team. Games of the week, these are picked by Houston. So thank you so much, Houston, for providing the next 5 or the final 5 games that we'll pick before we finish up tonight. Number 18, Michigan, -3 at number 21, Minnesota. I got no idea here. I'm going to take a Morgan in this case, and that is Tanner Morgan, 3-point home dog. Give me the points and the home dog.
Well, I like to hate on Michigan, as we all know. It's a team I never believe in. It's a team I always think is overrated. There's several of them, but they're kind of one at the top of my list. I don't know a lot about this game either, Morgan, but yeah, I'm going to go with a Morgan as well, and I'll take Minnesota to cover as a low-point home dog.
I am going to take Minnesota as well, but not for a Morgan, unfortunately. Rashad Bateman has opted back into the season, and that's going to be the best player on the field. Give me Minnesota and the points.
Next up, South Carolina at LSU, and you heard that right. I didn't say any ranking for either of those teams. -7, LSU is a favorite. Carolina right now, 3-0-1 against the spread this year. So they're doing good against the spread. The computers, though, are saying it's going to be a blowout, 45-20. So a 25-point win for LSU. I don't know if I feel the 25-point win. I really don't. But it is at home. It is at home for LSU. And Auburn, as Houston said, is just really not a team you want to brag about beating. Chad Morris, I think I've said it. I've hinted at it. Maybe a washed-up offensive coordinator. He may be. I'm not saying for sure. It's not a personal attack. He just does not seem to have any success anymore, and there's something going wrong with him and in getting an offense going and being able to mentor a quarterback to the next level. I don't feel it. So I don't give South Carolina that much props for winning against Auburn. But I think give me LSU to cover. I think LSU can score. So let's say that LSU can score 30. I think that they can hold South Carolina to around 21. So give me to cover by what is that? I got 9. So I'm saying they barely cover this.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me. As a matter of fact, I had South Carolina bolded most of the day today, and the point spread went from 7.5 to 6.5. But I mean, why? There's not a whole lot of logic for having LSU cover the spread. I mean, there's really not. I mean, they lost to Missouri.
But they lost to Missouri. 40 points on Missouri.
I understand, but they got destroyed by Mississippi State. I mean, they beat Vanderbilt by about the same that South Carolina beat Vanderbilt. And South Carolina has actually looked a little bit better than I think people believe, and LSU has looked worse than people thought, except for maybe Houston. So there's just not really a lot of reason to pick LSU here. But man, it's a hard thing to just pick South Carolina to cover a spread against a team called the Tigers. I just don't like it. It bit me last week when we picked Auburn, but I think LSU's offense has potential to be better than Auburn's. I mean, Bo Nix was just a complete dumpster fire. I'm going to take LSU minus the points here.
Well, I'm going to do the lone wolf thing again that I never thought I'd do, but I'm going to take South Carolina on this one.
I don't really think – I'm just stopping you right there, Houston. I don't really think you're allowed to be a lone wolf on that team. I just – we'll let the fans decide. We'll let the fans decide your fate.
Yeah. Well, look, here's the reason why. I know LSU can score a ton of points. South Carolina's proven that they can score points too this year.
Yeah.
Their offense is actually playing really well. And despite our telling all SEC defenses that they're going to throw the ball to Shi Smith, that's what they're going to do. They're going to throw the ball to Shi Smith. They're going to run the ball with Kevin Harris. And occasionally they'll throw it to Nick Muse. Nick Muse. They're going to throw it to him occasionally. That's the offense. But right now, SEC defenses are trash. They're terrible. Nobody can stop a runny nose right now, and LSU is no exception. South Carolina is going to be able to score points on them. LSU will be able to score points on South Carolina. Just how many? South Carolina's defense isn't as bad as some of these in the SEC and actually has a relatively solid unit compared to the rest of the league. I'm not going to pick an outright winner, but I am going to say South Carolina is going to cover the points. It's going to be a close game, and I think South Carolina is going to have a chance to win this at the end.
Well, I'm also seeing in the chat that Miles Brennan has got some problems.
Yep.
So,
I knew that going in.
You knew that going in? This was 1:53 p.m. Questionable there. TJ Finley or Max Johnson is their other quarterbacks that will likely start in this game coming up. So that's something you want to go with. Hey, I'm going to keep mine out there as well. I'm going to stick with my pick. But, we'll see. I mean, this is one that's definitely set up for South Carolina to win in that case. Next up, Oklahoma -7 at TCU. Not even the best game in the Big 12. And I tried to convince Houston to change it, but it was too late. So why do we care about these two unranked teams? Well, this could be the start of Oklahoma trying to get back into it, but TCU's also had some upsets as well this year. I'm going to say give me TCU at home +7, the home dog. I got to take it.
I'm with you as well. I'm rolling TCU here. Oklahoma has not been as impressive as a lot of people thought they were going to be this year. And, obviously they had the upset to Kansas State at the beginning. I am going to take the Horned Frogs.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma here. I think that the win over Texas is going to bolster their confidence. I think their offense is going to get it rolling here. TCU has proven that they can't stop anything either on defense. Iowa State and others have rolled all over them. I know they got the win at Texas, but Texas rolled all over them. Give me Oklahoma.
Next up, number 2, Alabama, -21 at number 18, Tennessee. Alabama and Clemson right now, as it looks, might be the two best teams in the nation. The public is picking 74% to Alabama. And I think if Alabama can score 50, I think they're going to put 50 on the board. They're almost averaging 50 points a game. You're going to tell me that Tennessee can score 29? Don't see it. Give me Alabama.
Do me a favor. What did you say the spread was on that one?
-21.
Oh, it's 21 now. Okay. All right, 21. Yeah, I mean, you got to take Alabama here. There's no reason to take Tennessee. I mean, goodness. As Garantano. I kept hearing Garantano. I always thought it was Garantano or whatever. But yeah, he was just an atrocity this past week. It was the Garantano we've come to know and love, the guy that can do decent one week and then just be awful the next week. And you'll notice that our resident Vol fan, Phil, has not joined us tonight. So he's probably in hiding because of that performance. I was texting him back and forth a little bit in the game, and it was just bad. I expected a lot better from Tennessee. I thought Garantano had kind of found something. He was doing a little bit better, being a little more consistent, and it was just garbage. You have to take Alabama here. And if Tennessee's able to cover, you just kind of tip your hat to them and move on.
Yeah, I'm going to take Alabama. I do think that we will see a quarterback change for Tennessee this week, and that's going to be who they roll with for the rest of the year. I think this game, even though Alabama covers, will look on paper like a closer game, similar to what the Georgia game was. I don't think Tennessee will take a lead or anything like that, but I think that a new quarterback, new life, they'll score some points at the end. It'll be something along the lines of like 45-21, 42-21, something like that.
As they were rotating quarterbacks last weekend, they actually had one go into the transfer portal because he didn't get played as he expected. So, got a little bit of controversy going down in the quarterback room right now. Not a good look halfway through the season. But last game of the night, number 9. This is a Big Ten game. Did we pick any other Big Ten games? Yeah, we had another one in there, Michigan and Minnesota. Not Ohio State. This is a Big Ten game, not including Ohio State. I think Houston had a little reason for that. A little bit of a stab at Ohio State for not picking them and their game against Nebraska. Let us know what you think about that game. But our game, we're going to pick the final one, number 9, Penn State, -6.5 at Indiana. Again, the Hoosiers have a ton of returning starters. Stevie Scott III was just as productive as Journey Brown. No Micah Parsons, remember. He's not going to play. And they lost at Happy Valley by 7 last year. So with a lot of returning starters, got a returning quarterback. Well, he's not really a returning quarterback, but he did get a lot of time last year. Give me Indiana plus 6.5, especially because first game of the season, you never know. So I'm going to take almost a touchdown.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you remember our discussions before the seasons started, I was very high on Penn State. I thought they were a sleeper playoff team and had something possibly for Ohio State. When they lost, Micah Parsons single-handedly dropped them out of the playoff discussion for me. I thought that kid is an absolute freak athlete. I thought he was going to do big things as a general for that defense. He is no longer there. And Indiana is better than people believe they are. Like you said, a lot of returning starters. They're kids that are going to have to be in that system and grow up in that system. And I think they're going to be fired up for that first game, ready to make a statement, or at least, give it their best effort at home. And first game might be a little sloppy. I'm going to take the Hoosiers to cover as well.
I picked this game for this specific reason that it's hard to pick this game. I'd rather have a close game versus a 26-point spread. I battled with picking this. I like Indiana. I think Indiana is going to surprise people this year, including the aforementioned Buckeyes.
Yep.
With that being said, I think this is going to be kind of a first game jitters game for both teams. I think Indiana is going to be in it close, but a late turnover into points is going to decide this game and decide the spread of this game. Give me Penn State plus the points.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed our picks against the spread this week, because it's been a couple of weeks in a row where it's kind of been we're all picking the same team. So it's kind of fun. We got a couple of lone wolves, got actually a lot of lone wolves for Houston, and got a couple with me, which I'm a little bit nervous about, and definitely some, if you go listen back, we hold no responsibility to your results this week. There was 2 in there that had quarterbacks that may or may not play, and one that I believe definitely won't play, so that we may or may not have known about. We try to do these while we're on our lunch break, and if something comes out at 2 o'clock or maybe on a Thursday, as Alan has mentioned, it's kind of hard for us to kind of go back. But we try to stick by our picks even though. But let us know what you think over in the chat.